All right, so I was just scrolling and I saw this photo of a guy that gets stuck on a plane in between two obese individuals. And yeah, guys, what would you do in this situation? This looks like they were saying in the comments it's Alaskan Airlines because of the outdated curtain. This looks like the compartment in between first class and second class. Like there's some extended room, but you can kind of see the divider where first class is. So I'm guessing these people bought a little bit more room and it is just still ridiculous. The dude in the middle is completely getting squished. If I somehow was the guy in the middle, I would probably have to just hide in the bathroom. I get really weird with other people, strangers touching me and things like. I'm sure everyone does, but just in general, I legitimately don't think I could sit there. Like, I just I would have to get a refund or something. That is just out of control. And it seems like the people in the comments really are kind of agreeing with me. They think it's ridiculous. Someone says, I almost had this happen to me on a flight once. Luckily, the guy with the aisle seat found an empty spot in another row. It would have been miserable for all involved. Someone else says, I did have this happen to me once on a flight. It was an extra large husband and wife. And then he asked, would they sit next to each other? They looked at each other and said, no. And so that's kind of the strategy to where you'll get two obese people who will buy, because they don't want to pay for the third seat, one of them will buy the aisle seat and one of them will buy the window seat, and then they'll hope that no one will buy the middle seat. I haven't been on a plane in probably 2 years or so, but normally when I go, they're always overbooked. And just the idea of flying on a plane, guys, it really is crazy. I've never sat on first class ever in my life. I've probably been on, if you count connector flights, I don't know, a decent amount, like 13 or 14 flights, whatever, if you're counting, connections. I've never been to Europe or anything like that, but I've been to Mexico, Dominican Republic. They're like 4 or 5 hour flights, and we're just seeing people completely lose their mind with how they're acting on these airplanes. But in a situation like this, dude, if you're that obese, you have to pay for 2 seats, man. You just have to. And then someone said, sorry, big boys, you spill over onto the seat next to you. You got to pay for the other seat. Life ain't fair. But I don't really even think that's a situation where life isn't fair. All you have to do is just, it's a thing where you do control your weight. It's not like you come out of the womb 400 pounds, if you weighed less, you wouldn't have to pay for the extra seat. And I know people say, well, what if they have a condition? What if they gain weight? That's a very small percentage. Guys, the reality of it is with obesity in this country, it's very, very easier than ever to get really, really fat. And technically also with all we know about eating right and being healthy and what we should eat, it's also very easy to be in shape because we have the knowledge, but people are still really, really fat, and it's honestly going up significantly. It's almost at this point becoming a crisis. I think there's something, it was like 40% of the American population is obese, but there are also situations where you'll get smaller guys that are really buff, and it'll technically say because a guy weighs a certain amount, because he's got a lot of muscle, it'll say he's obese when obviously he's just ripped and stuff and he's just got a lot of muscle. So there are situations where that really doesn't work based off of, the metric that judges obesity. But yeah, dude, this is a situation. There was one time I was on a flight by myself, or actually it was 2 or 3 flights going and coming back. And the kid I sat next to was my age. I got so lucky. It was like a 2-seater to where there was only one person next to me. I didn't know who it was. It could have been some dude that was 400 pounds, but the kid was my age. And I ended up just having a good time with him. I actually lost an AirPod in the process. Unfortunately, it fell down this weird tube. It was really strange. And I had to order one AirPod off eBay. It costs $60. It's crazy. How does an AirPod, one singular one, cost $60? After the flight was over, I talked to the attendant. I actually had a connector flight. It was like an hour and a half layover. And they were like, yeah, you're screwed, dude. Just get out of here. I was trying to pull the seat apart and get it. and I thought they were going to charge me for the seat because I broke it, but they didn't end up doing that, or something like that happened. I don't know. I really don't think these people care. You know, the attendants, they don't really care about the plane. They just want to make money and do their job. But either way, yeah, dude, if you're going to, there cannot be a situation like this. This is a living hell. And then someone else says, to be honest, if you're a male older than 14 with a fit, normal build, there's a good chance your shoulders will spill over if you sit straight up. And that's just cope. That's got to be just fat cope. That's just not true. I'm sorry. That's ridiculous on the planes that I've been in. And then guys, I don't know if you've seen all of these videos going around TikTok and Twitter and things like that. These people on these planes, maybe this is just a situation. It's easier to put content out now. Everyone has a phone. Everyone's recording. But some of these things are just ridiculous. I mean, there was a situation I saw on Twitter a few weeks ago. So, you know, we're all in economy level, right? The plane lands, whatever. And then, you know, you have to sit for like 20 minutes, and then everyone stands up and waits for each row to go. There was this black lady who was just trying to barge past everyone, screaming in everyone's faces. It's just like, my God, can you just act like an adult, please? Like, dude, I just think planes at this point, if you get on the wrong one, they're just so miserable. And then I just decided to look up what's going on with airplanes right now. It says YouTuber who staged plane crash will plead guilty. And this was a dude who literally jumped out of a plane. He had someone else videoing him jumping out of a plane. The plane ends up crashing because it was a single, you know, he was the only person in the very small plane. And he did it for YouTube views. So that's an interesting investment. He was going to face up to 20 years in prison, but because he's pleading guilty, I'm sure it'll be a much shorter sentence, or maybe he'll just face a crazy fine. My reaction to this as a YouTuber, it's a solid investment. No, I mean, I know people were clowning him and stuff like that. You know, it's tough, man. You're trying to get views, I understand, but you can't be doing something like that. And then this, I don't know, I'm sure a lot of people have seen this Inside Edition interview with this preacher. This dude, if you haven't seen it, go look it up on YouTube. He looks like a demon. I'm sure it's a situation where he's just older and he just doesn't understand how he's coming off. But the woman ends up questioning him about taking private jets to places. Hopefully we'll question Bill Gates next. But this dude, you know, he's talking about God and he's a preacher and he takes private jets. And he was trying to say that, well, I have to take private jets to be able to do my job and go preach at places and things like that, but it is messed up. Wi-Fi symbol instead of no smoking on my airplane. So I guess planes are doing this now. I've never seen that. You know how they used to have that? I mean, dude, do we really need a no smoking? I guess you know what we need to replace the no smoking with? Just replace it with a vape pen. No vaping. I wonder how bad that is on airplanes, vape pen. My airplane seat had a window on the restroom. That looks like a private airplane to me. That looks like a brand new airplane or something. That's very nice. You like to see something like that because it really doesn't matter. Even if you have the window open, you're going to the bathroom. Obviously, no one can see you when you're up that high. Am I an asshole for reclining my first class seat? I don't think you're ever an asshole for reclining your seat. I just think it's a situation where if everyone does it, they have the same exact room. You know, normally I do recline my seat when I'm in economy. Again, I haven't been on a plane in like 3 or 4 years, honestly, at this point. But if I were to go on one, yeah, I would probably recline my seat. But it's kind of an etiquette thing. If everyone reclines their seat, everyone gets the same amount of room. And then for first class, it feels like it'd be even easier to recline your seat. People still behind you would even have more room, even if you reclined it. And then everyone should just recline it. That is what the etiquette should be. If everyone reclines, y'all have the same exact amount of room. And then we've got a big fella here who tried to steal a lady's seat, and they asked him to go to his seat. He called her a bitch. Flight crew said, nah, you're not flying this flight. So the big boy ends up getting taken out. I mean, people are just getting crazy on planes. It's like Russian roulette when you go on one of these planes and you sit in economy. You're just hoping that people aren't acting crazy because it is getting ridiculous. Or you're hoping for a situation not like this, folks. you gotta, this is probably a thing where this dude's like a businessman or something, and he had to catch like the last flight, and this was the only seat available. Or maybe he just thought, because this is like some type of upgraded seating. It's not first class because, again, there's a curtain and you can kind of see there's better seats in front. But like, that's definitely some type of upgraded seating. So I'm guessing he thought there was no way this was going to happen because he's getting extra room. But I mean, those dudes, their blubber is just spilling out all onto him. And I would be concerned about like catching some type of cold or something. I mean, dude, that would not be good. There's no way I could do that. I'm not even like if the plane is full, I think you just got to hide in the bathroom the entire flight. I think the game plan is probably just to hide in the bathroom, but I just saw that and thought it was crazy. And then, I mean, people in the comments pretty much agreed. There were a few people that were saying they should make seats bigger. These are bigger seats in comparison to the economy level. These seats are bigger. So even with the bigger seats, these dudes, and then people were saying, well, no matter, if you're just a normal sized guy, you'll spill out. That's ridiculous, especially in seats like this. There's just no way. So yeah, guys, I mean, we do have a big obesity problem. I don't know how it gets stopped, how it gets under control, because, it's like a downward spiral. Once you start eating more and more and getting more fat, it becomes harder and harder to move, and you become less motivated to move because you lose your breath easier. And, it's so easy to eat a lot of calories in a very short meal, with all these fast food places and things like that. With where we're at in 2023, there's no need to hunt or expend calories to get your food, which was something that humans had to do for such a long time. And it all contributes to this. It is surprising, man. I mean, with how bad obesity is compared to other countries, we haven't seen one candidate. I mean, I guess you could say Michelle Obama did it, but like, it's not even about, the kids with the lunches. It's about adults. Like, that's it. Like, the age range is like 25 to 44. The obesity is just ridiculous. And then you look at other countries and it's so much less, and no presidential candidate, Democrat or Republican, is really even mentioning it at all. And it never even got mentioned in 2020 or anything like that. So that's pretty crazy. But yeah, man, that's a horrible, horrible situation. That is a nightmare. You got to pray that doesn't happen to you. But guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description.